Hey guys, it's Kate. Welcome to another speed build and thank you so much for tuning in. In this speed build I'm building a modern mansion on a 50 by 50 lot in Oasis Springs, and this build is quite big, so I hope you're ready for this. Get yourself something to drink, a nice cup of coffee, a cup of tea, or just anything you like. Lay back, and I hope you're ready for this because I know I am. So let's jump right in. Here I'm building the stairwell. I decided to connect the different floors by building a very traditional classic stairwell, which is something I've never done before, and this is how I just started. I had nothing specific in mind. I just kind of knew that I would like to include a stairwell and that I would like to build something that's modern, and this is one of the rare occasions that I'm building something modern on this channel. I think this is the fourth modern house, I guess, and this is also a first because this is the first time I'm building something in Oasis Springs. And here I try to include something round, a round shape like I did for one of my other rare modern builds, but then I kind of ditched the idea. I'm going to delete this, as you will see. And here I'm using the little pedestal that is part of Get Famous, and I just decided to raise it up so I can build some type of custom column. And I also placed it all around underneath the little balcony, so I have some type of custom frieze, you could say. And I decided to go for a dark color. I used a lot of black and also a lot of dark wood, and I just decided to throw some white into the mix to make it look a bit balanced. I didn't want the house to look completely dark, but I was going for this type of style. A lot of modern builds, a lot of minimalistic builds are very white, which is something that I really enjoy. I think these completely white minimalistic builds just look absolutely stunning. And the first modern build that I did on this channel was also completely white, but I just enjoy something that's a bit different, so I decided to include a lot of black and dark wood. For the windows in the front, I just added little segments, little wall segments, so I could add more windows, and it just made the facade look a little bit unique. I used a lot of windows, which is, I think, very typical for any type of modern build, and I added the friezes that are part of Get Famous. I just love this. Get Famous is generally such an amazing build, perfect for any type of mansion build, no matter if you're going for a very modern look or for a almost castle-like look. And here I'm starting to manipulate the terrain, which was a little bit tricky. As you can see here, I was really fiddling around with this and changed it up a lot because I was trying to create a very smooth slope, because otherwise your Sims won't be able to walk up and down. But as you already saw in the very beginning of the video, the Sims are able to walk up, so this is the way up to the house. And as I said before, the perfect indicator for this is if you are able to add terrain paint or not, because when the slope is too steep you won't be able to add any terrain paint, and in this case your Sims also won't be able to walk up. So this is a very good indicator while you are building. Just try to add some terrain paint, and if it's not working then your Sims also won't be able to walk on this. I kind of tried to make it a little bit curved, as you can see here, so it's just some very cool curvy way up. And I also added a lot of rocks, of course, and I used the red ones because it's just perfect for the whole desert theme, I guess. I just love this. For some reason, when I was little, I saw the Monument Valley on TV and the Grand Canyon, all that stuff, these typical US American deserts. And ever since that day, I've fallen in love with that. I just think it's so beautiful. I mean, it's not a beautiful landscape in the typical sense, beautiful mountains and forest and the beach, the ocean, all that stuff. It's a quite barren landscape, but there's just so much beauty in this, in my opinion. So I really enjoyed building here, and I have to say I have no idea why this is the first time, because actually Oasis Springs is such a very cool world. I don't know, I just built so much in Brindleton Bay and Windenburg, but it's a lot of fun to build in Oasis Springs for once. And these flowers are part of the jungle pack, and of course the jungle pack is perfect for any type of build like this. It's just perfect. And for the flowers, I was also trying to choose palm trees and that kind of stuff, just so it all fits into the desert theme. And this was a lot of tedious work as always, but for some reason I enjoy it. I don't know, it just it almost feels like having a little meditation session or something. I just really enjoy this, and I have to apologize for the zooming in and out. This happens when you're sizing objects up and down, so this is kind of what's going on here. And a question that I got multiple times after the Spiral Hill mention was how you are able to stack rocks on top of each other and all that stuff. So I kind of want to address these questions quickly and explain what I'm doing here. So in this game, you can't technically stack anything on top of each other. You can raise and lower objects in this game, but technically, even when you place them on top of each other, they are not really stacked. They are just floating on different levels on top of each other, if that makes sense. So they are not really stacked or sitting on top of each other. And you can use this method to raise anything up and down and just create the look of things being stacked on top of each other. But this is not really what I've done here. I've done this before in other builds, but here I just manipulated the terrain, as you saw. So I just prepared the terrain, I shaped the terrain the way that I would like it to look, and then I just added tons of rocks. And the rocks are simply sitting on top of the terrain. They are not really stacked on top of each other. I did not really raise them, I just added them. And by sizing the rocks up and by placing them in the right spot, they just kind of merge together. And this way you can create a very natural look. And because we only have a couple of rocks to choose from, I would always advise to simply size them up or down to different sizes. And I would also advise to rotate them, because by rotating them, there's always a different side visible, which makes it look like tons of different rocks. So this way you can just hide the fact that you have used the same 4 rocks over and over again. Also, the rocks obviously come in different shapes. Some of them are flatter, some of them have a kind of almost triangle shape, so it's always important to choose the perfect rock for the perfect spot. So when you are adding them to the terrain, just try different shapes, and after a while you just kind of get a feeling for what works. The flat ones are perfect for sections at the bottom of a hill, for example, so it always kind of depends, but you are going to figure this out. Practice makes perfect, I guess. And I added the little pedestal that is part of Get Famous that I've already used at the bottom for the custom column, all around the top with some type of trim, just to make it look a little bit more modern. I just like this look, and I just added it all around. And here I'm working on a little patio area. I used a fence to create some type of custom roof. I'm going to change up the color though, because I felt like there was too much black going on, and some of the little details weren't really visible because there was just so much black and there was no real contrast. So I'm going to change up the color to white, and I'm also going to change up the color of some of the friezes later, as you will see. Here I'm starting to do that just so I was able to add a little bit more white. And if you want to create this type of custom roof for a patio, you can just use a fence, and you just drag the fence, and as soon as the floor pops up, you can just use the sledgehammer tool to delete the floor, and this way you have a cute little roof. And something that I also really love to do, but I did not do that in this case, but you can add some flowers on top of this type of roof, so it looks like something is growing on top of that, like some type of vine. There is a cute little base game plant that is very flat, and this is just perfect to add on top of it. and I really love to do that, but I just felt like it did not go well with the whole desert theme and the other plants that I used for this build. And here I'm working on the bottom section. I'm going to add a little backyard later, and the area that I just worked on is just the stairwell connection to the backyard, so your Sims can use the stairwell and go down and enter the backyard this way. And here I'm adding more of the little pedestals just to finish it up. And I'm really curious what you guys think about the interior that I'm going to work on soon. I decided to have a very modern interior. In this case, I decided to stay in the themes. Sometimes I choose different themes for the exterior and interior, but in this case I decided to keep it all very modern. And here I added a little fountain in the front because I felt like this just kind of looks cute. And I'm also going to change up the terrain paint for the way up. I just could not decide on a color, so in this build generally, also for the interior, I'm going to change up a couple of things. And here I'm finally starting to work on the stairwell, and I added some stairs. You can see here how all the different floors are connected. And this area I think looks so cool because of the windows that I added on the sides. The windows are part of the fitness stuff pack, which is generally a very amazing pack for any type of modern furniture in my opinion. And here I'm deleting all the walls. I'm just building the rooms and the exterior as I go, so there are always many weird walls in the interior. And this floor here is the floor where I'm going to build the bedrooms. The bedrooms are pretty much equal sized, and there are going to be 3 bedrooms, 1 type of master bedroom and 2 kids rooms, and 2 bathrooms, 1 on the floor with the bedrooms, which always makes sense probably, and 1 bathroom is located on the main floor where the living room area is and all that stuff. And here I'm working on the dining room and the kitchen. And now I'm just jumping all over the place because I kind of wanted to include all the rooms first before I started to work on this. And I deleted a section of the wall to create some type of custom doorway. I did not want to add a basic doorway, and just deleted a part of the wall and added some of the columns. And this is the kitchen. And as you will see, I'm going to switch up a couple of things. I wanted the interior to look really modern and amazing, so I just tried out different things, but I'm going to delete these counters, as you will see, because I wasn't happy with the look, especially for the island counter. You can see that there's some flickering going on, so here I'm changing up the counters, and I'm also going to add some colors. So I was kind of trying to see what might work for the interior. I'm also going to change up the floor later, just so the interior as a whole kind of looks balanced. And a modern interior always kind of looks a little bit barren and cold, but I still wanted to add some elements that make it look homey, add some color here and there, the green rug for example, but again I'm going to change up some things. But I think it turned out really amazing. I tried to add not too many counters. I really have a tendency to use a lot of counters, so I kind of tried to keep the kitchen itself very minimalistic, including the counters, so it's also a little bit more realistic. And this is the dining room that is located right next to the kitchen. These huge beautiful mirrors are part of the vintage Glamour pack, and they almost have the same height as the huge windows, so I felt like this is a cute little detail. And again, by using the painting on the wall, I tried to add a little pop of color here and there, but this is going to change in a few minutes. This is just the general layout, and a lot of things are going to stay the same, but I'm going to work on the color because at this point I felt like it's a little bit too cold and I wasn't too happy with it, so I'm just trying different things as you are going to see. And the room on the left side next to the kitchen is going to be the living room. So the living room is kind of a living room and a little hallway at the same time, and the living room is connecting the kitchen, the dining room and the general living room area, so everything is kind of open, but I still wanted to separate the kitchen and the dining room from the rest, so it's not just one huge room basically. I included a little TV section to the living room, And here I'm working on the hallway. This is just the entrance area. I'm also going to add some more little details later on. Here I'm just laying out the general layout and furniture, but I'm going to add more details later because I felt like it was a little bit empty. I mean, I was going for a quite open and simple minimalistic layout, so I tried to not go overboard with all the little details and decoration, because otherwise it's kind of losing its very modern appeal. But I felt like there is still some room to add some stuff, basically. And this is the TV area. I'm going to move the doorway over to the left a little though, because I wanted to make more room for the little corner where I'm going to add some sofas. Again, I decided to use a lot of white and black just so I have a nice combination going on. And I think that this floor, the wood floor, adds a little bit warmth without taking away from the very modern appeal. I felt like before it wasn't warm enough, it wasn't homey, because even though it's very modern and simple, I still want the interior to be homey and cozy and very inviting. So I think the wood floor is kind of a good compromise. And this is just a little reading corner, which is always nice. And I'm also going to add a little office corner here. I did not want to add a separate office to this build, so I just included it there, which always makes sense. So the Sims can hang out in one room together, and this is a little room divider just so the room is not too big and open. I also wanted to give you guys a little update about how the birthday party at the weekend when that I was invited to. I talked about this in my last speed build and just kind of told you how I used bobby pins and a red set to create some type of vintage hairdo and all that stuff, and the party was really good. It was a Russian party, and Russian parties are always the best. I mean, in my experience for German parties, it's like hit or miss when it comes to the mood, the atmosphere. Is anyone going to dance and all that stuff? But Russian parties, in my experience, it's just on and everyone is dancing and having a blast. It's just party time, so everyone is going to party, and I think this is just a lot of fun. Also, we were sitting on separate round tables, and each table held a little speech, one table after the other, and was toasting to the lady whose birthday it was. So every table just had a little cute speech. It was very emotional, but I have to say that I did not understand the speeches. My boyfriend had to translate each speech for me afterwards because it was all in Russian and I only understand a couple of words and phrases. But it was a lot of fun, and it was for sure very emotional. And for our table, a very wonderful woman held the speech, and it was just amazing. The whole atmosphere was really great, and I was dancing a lot. I had a blast. The food was great, awesome Russian food. It was just amazing. And for my hairdo, I have to say that I think a very common problem if you have some curls or waves is if they are going to last. And I was watching a YouTube video like years ago about vintage hairdos, and I actually contacted the girl who made the videos on Facebook, and I was asking her for some more tips and tricks and all that stuff, and she replied, which I was very happy about, and she said the secret is simply to use a lot of hairspray. Usually hair is very smooth and it still moves, but she said if you want to have this type of vintage hairdo, it's not supposed to move at all. If you're using the right product, it still doesn't look like one clump of hair, but actually that's what it is, so it should not move at all. And so the curls are going to last, so that's what I did. And when I was coming home, I was just so exhausted. It was very late, so all I did was taking my makeup off and I was going to bed. And in the morning when I was waking up, before I stepped in the shower, I looked in the mirror and the front section of my hair was still perfect. Even though I slept in it, it just looked perfect, and I just had to laugh. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoy birthday parties like this. Always fun. Maybe tell me about your birthday party traditions in your country. It's always fun to kind of explore new traditions like this, like the speeches that I mentioned. It's a lot of fun. And as you just saw here, I'm working on the bedrooms. I added one master bedroom and 2 kids rooms. One of the kids rooms is quite pink and the other one is blue, and they are all pretty much equal sized. One of them is just slightly bigger, and here I decided to add another bathroom because I kind of forgot to add a bathroom at the bottom to the floor plan, so that's what I'm doing here. So in total there are 2 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms, and there is a little hallway on the left side that leads to some type of balcony or patio in the back, so your Sims can have some fun on the outside. But there's also going to be a pool, so I feel like for a build like this it's always good to include a pool. I haven't done this in a while actually, so this is a mansion with a proper pool, just like how it's supposed to be. And here I'm working on the pool, and I kept it very simple for the outside. It's just a lovely pool, and I'm going to add some armchairs and a sofa, the ones that are part of Perfect Patio stuff, I think, just so it's a cute little outside area. And I also added more plants to make it look more colorful and beautiful. I think Oasis Springs, in my opinion, was probably inspired by Palm Springs, because it's just like, it looks like a desert. It is a desert, and there are so many very green spaces and palm trees. It just reminds me of a city like this probably. And I think, as I said before, it's just so beautiful, and I'm going to build something there more often. It's very interesting to just kind of explore words that were added right in the beginning when the game was released, but then as soon as some packs were released, I kind of was so hyped about all the new words that I almost forgot about Willow Creek and Oasis Springs. And here I just added a dance floor. And this serves no other purpose than just looking fancy. When you look at the bottom, look at how the light now looks in the living room. It's just beautiful, so it's not really working. It doesn't have the function of a proper dance floor because there's no way to access it. So it's just some type of roof, you could say. And this is the other balcony in the back. I added a lot of stuff so your Sims can have a great time on the outside, including a hot tub. I think that this is a cool space to hang out. So this build in general has a lot of areas where Sims can just hang out on the outside, including 2 hot tubs, which is a lot, but I mean, for a huge mansion like this, it's probably perfect. And as you just saw, I tried to merge the glass fence a little with the rocks all around. And this is almost it, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this speed build. If so, please like and subscribe, and as always, I included screenshots at the end of the video, and this house is available in the gallery. You can find all the information in the description box down below, and I hope that I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!